In 1975, a rock musician was hit by a taxi and spent the next few months bedridden, listening to a tape of harp music his girlfriend gave him. Stuck in his bed, he realized his amplifier was too low, with one channel completely broken, but with no way of getting out of bed and unable to correct it, he began to notice the peculiar effect these settings were having on the sound. The way that the music had begun to melt into the everyday sounds around him and take their place in the ambience of the room. This musician was Brian Eno, and to this day he is considered a pioneer of the genre of ambient music. Ambient music is a genre of music with a very specific intention upon which all its elements and characteristics are based. The term, coined by self-described non-musician Brian Eno, is described by him as intended to induce calm and a space to think, while remaining as ignorable as it is interesting. This form of music is created with the goal of producing sound which is unobtrusive and a supplement to the process of meditation and reflection. It is a skill to create sound which doesn't draw all the focus of the listener and can work hand in hand with them to create a heightened level of consciousness and meditation. Many deliberate and sometimes scientifically motivated decisions go into creating this music, and through the analysis of two key works in this genre, Brian Eno's Music for Airports and a commercially created Binaural Beats piece, these decisions can be analyzed and their effects on the mind can be realized. Ambient Music for Airports by Brian Eno was released in 1978 and deeply reflects the essence of ambient music. Sparse piano melodies, humble synths, and an irresistibly calm speed combine to create a 48-minute piece which perfectly supplements the experience of the listener in any situation. The three most notable elements of the music are the melody, texture, and timbre. However, the slow duration should also be considered. This slow duration assists in making sure the piece is unobtrusive, which is one of the main goals of ambience. The melody of this work is very restricted, using around 3 notes in the keyboard. The effect of this is to keep the piece present in the room without taking any attention away. The notes dapple in with the breeze and achieve the desired effect of attaching to the aural environment. The method with which the piece was made contributes to the exiguity of the melody. According to a breakdown by Reverb Machine, Eno recorded single notes, girls' choirs, and various sounds of ambience onto separate tape loops and let them play at different speeds. By keeping the amount of notes minimal on each loop, Eno achieved this sparse sound. He further elaborated on his method, saying, "I just set all of these loops running and let them configure in whichever way they wanted to." It is this innovation, preceded by the likes of Satie with his furniture music, which gives ambient music its relevance. It is as much an aural achievement as it is a scientific one. Keeping in line with the atypical nature of this genre, Eno used his own forms of notation to elucidate how his piece was to sound. By looking at this diagram, we can easily see the texture of the piece, which is thin, scattered, and spaced out. The choices to spread out the texture of the piece result in the sound being absorbed into whatever environment it is being played, which has the effect of supplementing the listener's consciousness and creating feelings of omnipresent calm. Finally, the timbre of this piece is very simple, with just synthesized vocals and piano. All these sounds are non-abrasive and legato in dynamics, which cause the sound to blend together and have a very open and natural feel. Even the synths feel as if they are naturally occurring, and this is aided by the integration of vocals within them. Overall, the manipulation of these 3 elements serves the purpose of ambient music and helps the listener be moved to a state of calm without even knowing they are doing so. Another subsection of ambience to be acknowledged is that of frequencies and binaural beats. Described by WebMD as an illusion created by the brain when you listen to 2 tones with slightly different frequencies at the same time. Binaural beats have risen to popularity on YouTube, lauded by some as a way to subconsciously improve your mood or state of focus, yet criticized by others as pseudoscience. While their effect is somewhat unproven, many people do claim to experience the benefits of these pieces. One such piece is titled Increase Brain Power, Focus Music, Reduce Anxiety, Binaural and Isochronic Beats, and while this title seems somewhat commercial, I personally feel that this piece actually does help me to relax. The group, which has made this, explains that they have used binaural and isochronic tone patterns between 12 and 20 Hz. This piece, unlike music for airports, has more instruments, a thicker texture, and a more repetitive and conventional melodic system. I believe that binaural beats are a more conspicuous attempt at relaxing the listener, in that, while general ambient music aims to be absorbed into the aural environment of the listener, the subsection of binaural beats are actually meant to be listened to as a separate entity with headphones. This means that the music has to keep the interest of the listener, and in order to achieve this, a more conventional array of elements must be used. The instruments used in this piece are harp, some kind of flute, vocal synths, and various other texturized synths. Notably, these instruments make a discernible melody and pattern unlike music for airports, and this is what keeps the audience's attention, drawing them in to continue listening to the hidden binaural beats in the background. The texture is also thicker to cover external sound, a contrast to other forms of ambient music, and this singles the mind in on the binaural beats and eliminates distractions. The beats themselves cannot be noticed when listened to in this form, and this is because of all the other instruments playing over the top. This causes the listener to have their experience subconsciously changed. As noted briefly earlier, there is much more melody in this piece, with chord changes, different instruments taking the lead, and conventional melodies. All of these together combine to keep the listener interested and listening, yet, as ambient music, the intention of this piece is to work with the listener and improve their well-being and experience of reality. Who would have guessed that a taxi hitting a 70s rock musician would spawn an entirely new genre of music? Ambient music is effective through its subtlety and humbleness, not trying to invade or overthrow the listener's senses, but instead joining with them to influence their state of mind. Through the manipulation and interconnectivity of key musical elements such as timbre, melody, and texture, ambient pieces have significant mental power over the listener and can be used to greatly change how they experience everyday life.